All right. All right, welcome to Mimosas in the Morning. We'll get started here in a minute, let you guys log on, and get my computer ready for commenting. Hello, welcome. We got Ben and Sean, or one of the two. Not now. All right. Get the computer ready to go, and then we can get... Alrighty. Hello everybody. Welcome on to Mimosas in the Morning. I'm your host, Josh Greenwood. I'll give you the waves, wave. Alright. Let me just get the computer set up so we can start to comment. Sometimes it just takes a little lag time, which is so annoying. New window. And Instagram story. There we go. To comment. All right, let's mute myself. Alrighty, there we go. Clap, clap. Got it on in. Realized I ran out of orange juice. I didn't go shopping because of the, just having to get out and go do stuff. So we're doing actually a special mimosa today. It is a jalapeno limeade mimosa. Wasn't sure I was going to work out. But, no joke, it's very, very good. Very good. Yeah, I'm going to take a couple sips of this. So we're doing that in iced coffee today. So, today's theme that we're getting into, we're going to talk about... and special guest, my big guest is my brother today. So you, Sean, Ben, you guys were at the wedding. You guys met my brother Nick. So Nick's a registered nurse. He works in Southern California. Last I remember, he was working night shift in ICU. Now he switched to day shift and working with COVID, a lot of COVID patients and going in. So we're going to take questions and field things about how to stay safe, how to continue to stay healthy during this continuing climb, never-ending climb of COVID in America. What's up, my man? How you doing? Welcome. In America and what's going on right now. We're also going to talk about gaming and how the gaming community has come together and expanded and blown up during this whole period of everyone being locked in and home. I know I game more than I used to because only so many hours in a day. What are you going to do about it? So we're going to talk about favorite consoles. There he is. We're going to talk about at COVID, we're going to talk about the console wars, what games we're playing right now, stuff going to go in on there. Before we bring my brother on, though, coffee. Before we bring Nick on, let's talk about what's going on right now. Right now, I wanted to give a shout out to all my friends out there. Say Happy Pride. Stay safe out there. We don't have good weather in upstate right now, but in New York City, I heard it's beautiful, and other cities around the country. So during your Pride celebrations, I know it's different than normal because obviously we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Things are going crazy, and everybody needs to stay safe. But again, celebrate, have a good time. Social distance, mask, wash your hands. But honestly, Happy Pride. And it's weird. I remember the last couple of years for Pride, there was, what was it? The last Pride I actually worked in a bar. I was working, there was this bar, it was a rooftop bar down on Meatpacking, West Side. Me and my buddy got jobs bartending for the event. And I didn't know what the event was going to be before we got there. And he's like, oh, it's Pride, we're going to do this whole thing. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, it's we're going to do this, be this first bar when we go in. And we set up our own bar, we set up all this stuff in the front. And it was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. It was the only actual Pride event I've ever gotten to go to, because I always was either working at another bar or not around or had the opportunity to go in. And honestly, I had the most fun. I still have friends on Facebook and other places that I'll talk to every once in a while that we met on that Pride Sunday. It was, no joke, the biggest expression of acceptance and of love and just honestly a good time. Like there was nobody there that wasn't there for a good time. There were no like, when you go to a bar and welcome all the Mimosas in the morning. You go to a bar, you go to a place, and then you get these like, there's always a couple people there that are just like downers, that are always like not there to have a good time. They're there to just kind of be like, like either to start problems with somebody, to argue with somebody else, to be a devil's advocate, just to like be that person. We all know that person. We all know there's those people out there. This was not that. Honestly, it was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life at like an event and fun, because everybody was loving, everyone was accepting. Honestly, they had the like smoke cannons and like awesome artists coming through, like shows, events. It was a lot of fun. I would definitely 100% do that again as soon as the pandemic is over, and being around to be something I'd be looking forward to for doing. Come back, see my friends, see Sean, Ben, get Darnell, Elise, the crew, Jeremy, everybody on out, and like tear up the town and Pride next year. We'll say Pride 2021. Unless you guys want to come out to Denver, then we got everyone come out. We'll do Pride in Denver together. We'll do both alternating weekends. So again, really happy Pride, happy sharing and spreading love and remembering, like Darnell had talked about previously a couple weeks ago on the show, where the people, the leaders of the movement previously, about Stonewall, about trans black women, about people that really rioted and protested for the rights for the LGBTQIA plus community. So let's not forget that in the Pride celebrations, but also have a drink, wear a mask, wash your hands, have a good time, and let's all spread some love. So give my brother a little bit of a run up into this, kind of show him like what's up and talk about him a little bit. So again, this is my younger brother. We're 2.5 years apart. It's like coolest dude ever. He's currently working as a registered nurse, still working, finishing his master's degree, but working in a hospital. He'll correct me if I'm wrong on any of this information when he gets on, talking about working in an ICU. So working night shifts and switching over to the day, working with COVID patients. So we're going to talk to him about how he's dealt with that, how he's been able to, decontaminate after work to go home, to make sure that he is being safe and not spreading anything, being safe with his patients. What's the best ways to stay healthy during this time period, and have the opportunity to ask questions here. If you guys are on, you can throw out questions in the comments. We'll try and field the answers. And again, we'll probably end it up with some fun talking about video games. So if you're here for the COVID part, stay in the beginning. If you're here for the video game part, stay in the beginning anyway, and then stay till the end. But we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to send him an invite here and get him on. Let's see. Boom. For him to accept that. Night shift a bunch, but it's 9 a.m. in California. He's calling from California, and I'm in New York. So we're noon here. Hello. What's up?
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
I'm on an iPhone 6, so you got to bear with me with the quality.
Oh no, it's all good. It's taken a time for me as well to figure out how to do all my setup. I mean, my setup is I got tripods and computers and look at this. This is we got the computer desk, we got the tripod and the setup and the whole thing. But week one definitely was not like that. So I hear it.
Got leaned against my computer
there you
here.
go. It's funny that we can't just use your actually really good fancy gaming computer to get on here, that we have to be on the phone, and it's the one piece of hardware you have that isn't super updated and fast.
I know. I'm and we could talk about it later, but cameras are sparse during COVID for computers. They're all bought out and sold out and hyper expensive right now. So
that's what I heard. I heard people that were everybody's getting into Twitch streaming and doing all this stuff. So it's to try and buy any sort of camera or do anything. It's nope, not going to happen.
No, cameras,
honestly,
mics,
what I've heard,
they're all out.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people have been doing streaming on, if they have a newer iPhone or something like that, that they've just been getting on and doing iPhone streaming, getting these setups for like the Joby Gorilla Pod or like all these other things where they'll just like have their phone and do their phone like on the side of their desk and do all that streaming with it. So
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? Well, it's good to see
Yep.
you, man. Welcome to the
Yeah.
show.
It's been since the
How long
wedding,
do you
man.
work at night shifts?
Um, about a year and a quarter, and I just switched to days this week, so I'm trying to flip my schedule, which is proving to be difficult. But I think waking up early for this whole podcast is going to help.
Yeah.
Sleeping 20 hours, and I skipped the whole day, so.
Your Saturday just didn't exist. You literally time traveled forward to come
Oh,
into
I
the
did. I
show.
slept all day yesterday. Yeah, I went to bed at like 1 a.m. and then I woke up at like 6 p.m. the next day.
Oh man.
I
You're
just,
like, I'm
I
ready
don't,
for the morning. And you're like, no, this is the evening. This is not right.
I wake up and the day's already gone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
I can't even like, luckily I didn't have to do any like night shift stuff. Like, I don't think I could do that. Like, Maddie laughs at me because like it'll be 10 p.m. and I'm already falling asleep and like passing out. And she's like, come on, we're watching a movie. And I'm like, I'm awake. I swear I'm awake. And I'm like literally passed out at like 10 p.m. Then I'll wake up at 7 or 8 the next day and be like, oh, okay, here I'm awake and this is fine.
well,
But
for me, it's, it wasn't hard because as a nurse, you have to think the whole time. There's no like downtime. So your mind is racing. What's going on with this patient? What's happening here? What am I missing? So I
yeah,
never really had a rough transition. The harder transition has been going from nights to days,
yeah.
and that's just simply because I'll sleep 20 hours for some reason.
You're like, I'm
So,
really tired from this exhausting job where I'm on a first responder, like, healthcare professional in the middle of a pandemic. I was actually thinking about this, like, because you've been doing what you've been out of school for and working full time for about a year and a half now, right?
well,
Like at the
I've
hospital.
been in school the whole time.
Yeah, you're doing school on top of it.
Yeah. So yeah, I had my year. I don't know. The pandemic came out of nowhere, so
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I was like, your first year as a nurse is like literally in a worldwide 100-year pandemic that comes out, and it's like, hey, you graduate, or you're like, you're going to school still, but you passed the your boards, and now you're a nurse, and now we're
yeah.
just gonna throw a global pandemic that we don't know anything, like very little about this whole
Oh
disease and
yeah.
stuff that's going on, and it's like, it's crazy. It's just like I couldn't imagine. It'd be like, yeah, I don't know how. It's tough. It's like you're going in at the hardest point.
Well, yeah, and being on the COVID unit is just rough. You have to do the donning and doffing, and our procedure is so I get there at like 6:30. I look at my patients. I start donning. You put the boots on, put the whole gown on. You got the N95 plus the surgical mask plus the face mask plus the hairnet, and then you go on the unit, and the unit is dreary.
Yeah.
It's we're not our hospital. No one's really prepared for this, so we turned all of our rooms into negative pressure rooms, and it's hot, it's muggy. Uh, it even if you don't have a busy night, it takes a lot out of you. And then for
Yeah.
our hospital, when we take everything off, the opposite of getting everything on, the boots off, the mask off, all that stuff off. I have to then leave our when we exit the unit, it actually we have to go down 3 flights of stairs out the back of the hospital.
What?
And yeah, and then we're outside. We walk back around, go in through the physician entrance, walk 3 flights of stairs back up to get on the floor that we're on. Then I can take my break. So if I have to go pee or get some water, it takes me 15 minutes just to get there. and it's rough. It's not easy being on that unit. Um, oh, there's Kate. Uh, it's just not easy. It's the patients have gotten easier, uh,
Yeah.
and that they're all the same. COVID affects everybody. At least from my ICU perspective, they're all having the same issues.
Yeah.
Uh, they're all on the heparin drips for coagulation. They're all proning because their lungs are trash. That's not medical, but
Yeah.
uh,
It's true. It's true though.
on the remdesivir, they're all, so you even if they're a male 26-year-old versus a female 76, they're all doing the same thing. But it's just a rough unit, man. It just takes a lot out of you being on there.
Yeah.
Um, and like I said, it's if you're just on your regular, like if I'm on the regular ICU, if I want some water, I could just go get some water.
Yeah.
It takes 5 seconds. But on this COVID unit, it takes 15, 20 minutes just to get your clothes on and off. Then I got to go down those 3 flights of stairs, come back up the 3 flights of stairs just to get a sip of water. And then I have to come back on the unit and do it all over again. So there's times where I don't even, it's such a pain in the butt to do all that. I don't take all my breaks, uh, because it's like, ah, gosh, what's the point? It's going to take me 20 minutes to do it. I'll just stay on the unit and survive the rest of the shift.
Yeah. Are
Yeah.
you guys allowed to have stuff like I mean, this is totally I'm not a medical personnel person, but like underneath it, like have like a camel pack and like have like water come out. You just like take a sip underneath all your gear.
Well, we've joked about it, but no,
Yeah.
no. And
Leave too
some,
many crevices open and
yeah. Well, some people wear, like, I just have N95 and then surgical mask on top. Some people have to wear what's called a PAPR.
yeah, what's
Uh,
that?
and I don't remember the acronym, positive airway pressure or something. I don't know.
Mm.
It's this huge, it's like you see in quarantine movies, the huge mask that goes over the whole head. And then there's a plastic
Yep.
face mask here. And it's connected to a blowing, like an airway system in the back. You carry this. There's my head. It's about as big as my head. It wraps around
Yeah.
you, and it blows air into the front of the mask. So if
Oh,
you
interesting.
failed we fit tests every year for the N95, and if you fail it, you have to wear a PAPR. Oh, my computer screen. I'm blue now.
There you go.
So some people wear the PAPR, and then they've talked about wearing a camel pack underneath, but I think it's just more contamination
Yeah.
risk that you'll have to go through. They
Yeah.
feel good because the unit's so hot that the air blows on your face. It feels nice.
Get some AC.
But
Yeah.
the people that have gotten COVID at our hospital, employee-wise, it seems that they've all worn the PAPR and not the
Interesting.
N95. So I don't know if that's a legit thing. We've had couple outbreaks with employees where like 10 employees test positive or
That's crazy.
15 employees positive. Yeah, I've been lucky that I've been negative. I was tested a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
because I guess I came to the hospital. I had a fever. We do the like all businesses are doing.
Yeah.
I was fine, and I had a fever of 101.5 or something like that, and I felt great. I didn't have I had a cough, but I cough after I eat, so I think I have
Yeah.
GERD. But I went and got tested. I did the nose thing, which wasn't as
Yeah.
bad
How's
as
that?
it doesn't feel comfortable.
Yeah. It's not great.
Um, no, no, it's not comfortable at all. And test came back within a day or so, and I tested negative.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's something you definitely don't want to get. Um,
Yeah.
I was reading something and it brought up a good point and you kind of said it too. We don't know anything about it really, and what are the long-term effects? I was reading that they did some studies on SARS patients, and they were suffering some of them were suffering long-term issues. So
Yeah.
with a
Wonder
virus.
too.
You don't know what's going to happen down the road with
Yeah,
people who have it. So
yeah,
hopefully it's nothing. Um,
yeah,
but it really, man, it really just takes and like I said, I'm an ICU perspective, so I don't see the patient with just sniffles.
yeah.
So
You
I
see
see
the
the
worst.
patients that are pretty much tubed. They're prone. They got the heparin drips, all these other drips, you know, vasopressors, which are meds to keep your blood pressure up. So
Yeah.
I see the worst in my area. So that's my perspective. So I always talk, I don't see those ones that are like, oh, sniffles, and they get sent home and they're okay.
They're
Uh,
like, just stay home for 2 weeks and you'll be fine. Like,
yeah, and we've had this is kind of scary. Something that we've been having is because you have that coagulation in the lungs just become so for some patients they become kind of obviously weakened, but I don't know if this is the right term, but like a fibrotic lung where it's just
yeah,
hardened and like not good.
yeah,
Uh, when they're on a ventilator, we have different settings. And shout out to all my respiratory therapists out there. You guys are the champions.
yeah.
Um, we have them on a certain level of PEEP, is what it's called. Positive expiratory. I don't remember. I should, but I don't remember. What is that? Like you have all those little alveoli in your lungs, and it keeps those alveoli open longer so that
Yeah.
you can have more gas exchange. But we've found that at least a few patients we've had to have higher peeps. You can go up to the low 20s in PEEP, but you start hitting 20 and you're like, oh my gosh, you're going to have barotrauma. And so they end
What's
up
that?
they give the patient a pneumothorax, which is essentially, this is in layman's terms, the lungs are they work on a pressure system. So pressure expands the lungs and pressure contracts the lungs. When you mess with that pressure, your lungs can go from being able to go normal to just suck in, and then you can't use it. So
Yeah.
you poke a hole in like the I don't want to get too detailed because this would take an anatomy lesson, but you essentially poke a hole and it screws up that pressure, and your lung just
Yeah.
shrivels up. And then you have to put a chest tube in. And we've had a few patients to where we've had to raise their PEEP, and the PEEP have caused that trauma, and they end up having a chest tube. So the thing that's going to help, like we want to raise the PEEP because it'll increase their oxygenation, but the PEEP is what caused the pneumothorax, and we've had a few patients that have had those. So
Yeah.
that's scary that something that should be helping can potentially hurt.
Yeah.
And then you
It's a
put
hard
the chest
line.
tube,
Hard line to play.
yeah. So it's just a scary thing. COVID is no joke, and if you get hit with it hard, you get hit with it hard. Um,
True.
and if you do recover, it takes a long time for that recovery process to happen. I think at my hospital, initially we were 100% fatality rate. We didn't have anybody that went on in the ICU, not talking other floors.
Yeah.
Uh, if the patient was tubed, uh, initially in the first few weeks and first month, we didn't have anybody that made it. They all passed.
Yeah.
We have a much higher success rate now, and we're seeing more people get through it. We were
Yeah.
doing hydroxychloroquine. We were just trying to figure out anything that would help. Um, it's no joke. And then you see on the news with people, not
Well,
fight.
there was that crazy lady I was watching, and it was on like some Instagram page of Karen's Gone Wild or something like that.
Oh
But
yeah,
it's this woman, and she's just screaming. She's like, "This is a pandemic. Nobody's dying. You're making all this up. 5G is gonna kill you all anyway." Like, and it's just like it's
oh,
insane to hear people that have a platform that don't know what they're talking about. One, that are not in places like you are. They're not in ICUs. They're not working on the front lines. And it's almost like this woman and these men, all these people that are out there that are throwing out these conspiracy theories about it being fake and whatnot, that it doesn't exist. are almost, it's like slapping you in the face. It's like the stuff that you're going in and witnessing every day, having to experience death and trauma and do all this stuff. It's just like so, it's
Well, yeah.
just
Like,
fucked
then
up.
what are my patients dying from then? You know,
Yeah.
uh, I went to taco shop one morning after a shift on the COVID unit very early on, and there was a guy in front of me talking to the cashier, and he was just ranting. He had his mask on, but it wasn't even on right. You know, it's not, if I sneezed in his face, it wouldn't have protected anything.
Yeah.
He was talking about just the virus and everything, and then he's like, "It's not even real." And I was like, "Really?" And he turned around and saw that I was in my nursing getup, and you could tell he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that." But then he doubled down and was like, he started talking about 9/11 and how they're going to take our liberties away, and you know, and I was like, I didn't say anything to the guy because what's the point? You can't argue with that. But it seems that a lot of privileged individuals are the ones complaining the most.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's true. You
and
see a
what
lot of,
if it doesn't affect you? Like people have, like if it doesn't affect them, they have a hard time, you know. He probably just wants his job. That's what he was complaining about. Really, was he just wanted to get back to work, and that's fair. But coronavirus will kill you. You know,
yeah.
and he was an older guy, so it's like you're already at risk, dude.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
but it
assuming he
sucks.
probably wasn't super fit and in shape if it was there
No.
in Hemet Taco Shop. Like your comorbidities are probably quite high on your levels of, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I it just sucks because you. I mean, I don't feel like I'm putting my life on the line. I feel protected and everything, but
Yeah.
you go bust your ass every day. It's not easy to prone people, you know. And proning is, for if you don't know, it's you take a patient who's laying on their back and you flip them over and put them on their belly, and that helps in a couple ways. It helps the lungs expand more because the bigger part of the lung is on the back.
Yeah.
So it's not getting pressed upon by like the heart and all the heavy stuff of the front side of the body, and also it increases blood perfusion to a better part of the lung. It's not easy to do that, and especially if the patient's out of shape and they're obese, it takes five or
Yeah.
six people just to flip them over. And then I'm in the ICU, so I don't have a CNA to help me turn, so I have to turn them every 2 hours, and that's on top of doing everything else. So it's not easy.
That's
You
crazy.
go and bust your butt to make sure that these people are getting the best care that they can, and then you go outside and they're taking away our liberty. Well, which liberty? I mean, you still have free speech. You still have your Second Amendments. I mean, I don't know what liberty we're taking from you.
I
Just
know.
like it kind of. And it's funny in this whole thing is nurses are the number one most trusted profession.
Yeah.
Out of the other profession, nurses are consistently number one. But in the biggest time where you want to trust a nurse, none of you trust us.
Yeah.
It's weird that these people. Yeah, I've seen the videos of the 5G and this. I saw one of those. This is our God-given right to breathe, and you're preventing us from breathing.
Yeah.
No, it's just a mask, lady.
No, no.
Give me a break.
Like
So
honestly, I always say it too. It's like if you have to stay on shift for your 12 hours or whatever you're doing on your shift, and you have to wear all this PPE, and if you got to pee, you got to go up and down stairs, you got to do this, like all
yeah,
this stuff. Like you can wear a mask in the grocery store for 30 minutes. Your oxygen levels aren't going to drop so low that it's like, it's
no,
such a crock. It's like there's so many people that they just don't want to because they don't feel like it. And honestly, I would have more respect for people if they're just like, honestly, I just don't care about anybody else and I don't want to wear a mask. I'd say, well, at least you're honest. At least you're honest
that's,
with why
that's
you want
that's the real reason.
to.
That's
Yeah.
the real because it's the masks aren't that big of a deal. I mean, when I'm on the unit and I wear it for 12 hours, yeah, the mask sometimes it gets a little hard to breathe, but that's because I'm doing it for 12 hours and I'm proning people. and I'm moving around, and I'm on my feet for 80% of the shift. And these
You get
people, what,
you
you
get
go
like
to
a
the
workout here. You're
yeah,
going up and down the stairs. Your legs are getting worked out.
yeah,
You get like it's like basically a free gym session every time you're at
oh
work.
yeah, and this has been going on. I mean, since before February, but for us,
Yeah,
the end of February, beginning of March, I've been on the COVID unit every single shift except for two.
yeah,
We take turns going over there, and it's a workout. It just takes a
yeah.
lot. Even if I have an easy shift, there's I go home and I'm still just beat up because I'm on that unit for so long.
Yeah.
Uh, it takes a lot out of you, and it's just a bummer that people can't wear their mask you don't have to wear it in the car. So you go to the grocery store, wear the mask, take it off the car.
Well, it's
There.
funny. They're actually seeing in New York right now. Is I had one of my friends. Shout out to Brian Ish on here. He they were out protesting like 21 days in a row, like 21 days in crowds of thousands of people in New York City, where you saw the most increase in spike at the beginning of this trend going up. Um,
Yeah.
we haven't seen an increase in cases. People are getting tested. He was tested. All my friends about have been tested. But I will say the one thing I heard, I was not there obviously, is that everybody who was organizing the protests were very specific about you got to wear masks, social distance, even while you're there. Just make sure you can't touch the people next to you. And about every 4 or 5
Yeah.
blocks, they put in hand washing stations and they put in free masks, med stations, and hand sanitizers so that while you're marching, you could stop every once in a while and clean off whatever you have at a hand washing or like hand sanitizing and keep your mask on and continue to kind of have places you could go away and have a sip of water without having to take that off in your group, which is interesting. And it's like it clearly works if you can just wear the mask and you could just have a little bit of space. It works, but if you're like purposely being like, I don't care, I'm not going to wear my mask. It's just it seems like it's such
The
an easy thing to do, but nobody wants to do it.
the most important thing is to wear the mask.
Yeah,
And you can go on the web and find these little pictures of if someone sneezes on a petri dish where bacteria grows, it grows like crazy versus someone who sneezes with a mask on, you don't get any growth.
yeah,
So I've had patients sneeze in my face. I work with people that are positive, and I wear the mask, I wear the right PPE, and I test negative. So the mask is very important because it protects the two airways where where the virus is going to get into is the nose and the mouth.
yeah,
So it's just a simple thing that can prevent you from getting it. And nobody's, even if you're young, that doesn't mean that if you get it, it's going to be hunky dory.
yeah,
I've had patients in their 20s that are beat up. So
yeah. They had a
you know,
woman I just read an article on. She got the first double lung transplant from COVID. I think she was 20, I want to say 25 or 26. She was young, but she got a double lung transplant. And when they obviously they had a picture of her actual lungs from COVID. Honestly, it just looked like somebody put them through a cement mixer and then like took a dump on them. Like it was disgusting. Like she had been a smoker and did like 30 packs of cigarettes a day for like 900 years.
yeah,
Like her lungs looked that bad. It
all
was
those
crazy.
all those little blood clots.
Yeah.
Blood is the fuel of the body. So you block the blood from the area, it's going to get necrotic. It's going to, there's no fuel for it to survive. So,
It looks so
double
bad.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
again, any of our guests, anybody watching, you got any questions for Nick on COVID or anything like that, shoot them out. I actually got questions for you too. So we're kind of talking about things that you could do to stay safe and stay COVID free. Obviously, wearing a mask, washing your hands are probably the most, mask number one, the most important thing. What would you say is being a healthcare professional, being in and out? Obviously, you wear all of your PPE to and from. Like, what would you recommend, like, as a routine? Like, if somebody, for example, went out grocery shopping, they're doing their stuff throughout the day, they're wear a mask. What else could somebody do to like say extra safe if they're coming in and out?
well, the big ones are mask is important. That's the number one. Hand washing is important. And then staying away from people,
Yeah.
social distancing. I get sick of hearing that phrase, but because we say it all the
Yeah.
time, but that 6 feet, if I sneeze or something, that gives you at least some distance away from it. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's perfect. If you go to the grocery store or wherever you go, there's going to be other people there, but
Yeah.
those are the big three.
Yeah.
Uh, and for me, I don't do this as much anymore because maybe I'm a little desensitized to Corona. But when I would get off a shift, I'd enter through the garage. I'd take off all my clothes in the garage, put them straight in the laundry. Oh, my computer screen changed again.
I can see it
Uh,
like shifts.
yeah, it
It's good.
changes
It's
every
nice. It gives
couple.
it's like
So,
a fun,
uh,
like entertaining view throughout the time.
yeah. So and then I would put them all straight in the washer and dryer, and then I go jump in the shower, take a warm
Yeah.
shower. That would be the routine, and then I go to bed and wake up and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just for regular people, just it's so simple. Just a mask, 6 feet away from people, and wash your hands. I mean,
Oh,
it doesn't get any easier than that. I mean, you could wear full PPE if you want out in the world, but
yeah.
it's, just wear the mask. That's the big thing. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why that's so hard for some people. So, but those would be
Yeah.
the big mask, wash your hands, social distance. Um, because this isn't going to end anytime soon.
Oh God. Yeah.
This is gonna last for at least for healthcare workers. This will be over for the public before it is for healthcare workers. For us, it's going to last at least another year,
Yeah.
maybe even 2 years before this is all said and done. Our country has over 300 million people in it. And how many are we at now? Are we 2 mil?
So I think we hit the like 2 million infected mark, and we skyrocketed. There was like I see this all the time too. People are like, "This is the second wave," and it's like, no, it's not. Like, we're not even out of the first wave. We never had a dip
No.
enough.
Yeah,
It just spread from being major cities. Now it's like
yeah,
all over the country. It's like we just took off like a rocket. Like America is number one in COVID. Like
yeah.
the only person that's trying to fight us for that number one spot is Brazil, and Bolsonaro is a total idiot. So
Oh, he's off the charts. He's
I
off the.
know.
And I don't want to get too political, but I don't trust China's numbers ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many they've had because last I checked they were at 80,000 and they curved it, but I don't buy that for a minute,
Yeah.
especially with a country of a billion people. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't done a great job with handling COVID since the get-go, especially because those reports came out where our president knew back in November.
Yeah.
And Taiwan, they started doing stuff very early on because they didn't trust China's numbers either, and they did a really good job at curving it.
Yeah.
We could have been up on the list of leading the charge, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, those
Yeah.
three things are big: mask, social distance, wash your hands. I mean that was back in history. Washing your hands was like the number one preventer of everything.
Yeah.
Once we figured out that we just wash our hands, that like saved thousands and millions of lives. So, and like I said, I work with positive patients that sneeze in my face, I suction out their lungs and stuff, and I wear the mask and I test negative. So, wearing a mask has proven to work. So just
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Crazy.
It's got to be in for the long haul. It ain't gonna end anytime soon.
Well, so what does as well, because obviously we're talking about you going to work and working in an ICU COVID ward. What does, like, say, for example, how long are your shifts and what does a basic shift look like? Are you just like, you get there, you don your stuff, and then what do you do? What's your shift like? Like in a brief, succinct, like, How does that go?
So I always get there early because I'm an early bird. Um, so we'll just do a night shift. So I usually wake up at about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I leave for work at probably 5:30. I get chicken stars on the way. Just
Yeah, you
that's
gotta get
my diet. What are you gonna do? And
no
get
double
to work.
deviled bacon. Oh no, that's the chili cheese
Well,
from
I
Del
don't get that
Taco.
much. Maybe that's a post shift dinner. But I get to work at probably 6:15, 6:30. I get the scrubs from downstairs because they offer us a separate pair. That way I don't have to take my scrubs, work in them, and then bring them home anymore. I just use theirs, and
That's
they
good.
wash, clean them throughout the night. Um, so I get there, I look up my patients. ICU, you have 2 patients maximum. If COVID gets real crazy, there's talk of going out of ratio, which is a little scary, but you get 2 patients. So I look them up. I get a ballpark of like, okay, what's going on? Why are they here? Um, what are their, what drugs are they on? What sedation are they on? What pain meds are they on? Um, and then I look them up. I clock in at like 7 minutes till 7. And then I'm on the COVID unit about 7 o'clock. I take report for the first half hour on both the patients. Um, Once report's done, I do head to toe assessment on both of them. I write an opening note on both of them. I take temperatures. I turn them at the beginning. I do urine outputs, checking how much urine they have. Um, and then pretty much you're doing something. I've managed my time a little bit better to where I try to make every 2 hours because you turn your patient every 2 hours, and that's to prevent pressure injuries, which are nasty in and of itself.
Yeah.
Uh, so I try to do so. I'm only in the room every 2 hours. Now I'm neurotic. I go in the room every 15 minutes just to make sure everything's okay. And then it really depends on what kind of patient you have.
Yeah.
So if my patient has vasopressors, I'm in there every 15 minutes looking at stuff. And vasopressors, there's four different ones. Well, there's more blood pressure medication than that, but there's the main ones are four. And you can titrate them every like 5, 10, 15 minutes to keep the patient's blood pressure up. When you intubate someone, usually their blood pressure drops. Not everybody, and they may need some help to keep the blood pressure up.
Yeah.
Uh, so this is getting a little off topic, but there's Levophed, vasopressin, epinephrine, and neosynephrine. Those are the four that you'll use. Uh, but yeah, you're doing stuff every 2 hours, guaranteed. And then there's patients who have blood glucose issues. Some patients come in with DKA and COVID. DKA is diabetic ketoacidosis, means essentially they don't have insulin, and they
Yeah.
haven't had insulin. Usually they haven't been following their regimen, and with those patients, you're checking them every hour.
Yeah.
Uh, so if you have 2 patients and they're both checking them every hour, by the time you get done checking with one,
You're right back on the next one.
going to the next one, and then we're done with that one. You're not. I've had shifts where I don't sit down at all. Um, So it's I take my half-hour lunch at probably 1 o'clock, and that never lasts long enough.
Yeah.
You get free 10-minute breaks, but I usually don't take all of them just because it's such a pain in the butt to don and doff.
It's a 20 minute, yeah, like 20 minutes to get yourself on and off, and then
Yeah,
only
and
10
if it's
minutes like extra break. It's
it,
like,
yeah, and if it's 5 a.m., I'm almost done with the shift. I'll just forget it. I won't take it, and I'll just skip it.
yeah,
So, and
that's
you're on,
crazy.
and like I said, the unit's dreary. It just sucks the soul out of you.
Oh,
So
there you go.
yeah. So I get done somewhere 6:30 to 7. I'm done charting. I'm done doing all my meds and everything. And then from 7 to 7:30, I give report to day shift. And then they do the same thing. Day shift's a little bit harder because it's daytime. Everybody's there. All the
Yeah.
different professions, and you do physician rounds. We don't do those at night.
Yeah.
Uh, adds an extra hour to your day, which pushes you back.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and day
Doctor.
shift have the physicians are those are the main doctors. Those are the ones giving new orders. Night shift, you're really just maintenance,
Yeah.
unless you're dealing with emergent things. But if there's not emergent things, the doctors aren't going to do. They're not going to mess with the plan too much.
Yeah.
A little bit easier on nights, kind of, but
Just
it
by
can
the
get
pace
pretty.
of things, probably, right?
Huh?
Just by the pace of things alone, you know.
Yeah, but on it gets busy on nights too. I've had to assist in chest tube insertions, and I'm not doing the insertion, the doctor is, but just doing the nurse's role in that.
Yeah.
I had one where I had two patients in the same room where the doctor was putting a central line on one side, and my other patient's having dialysis on the other side. So I'm having to be a part of both of those things. Um,
Yeah. You're
so it
like,
can get, yeah, and some of my coworkers have had um, pretty crazy nights themselves. I don't want to diminish what night shift does because we do a lot too. Um, it gets crazy. You know, my feet hurt. Um, it's hot. Wearing an N95 for 12 hours, it's hard to breathe.
yeah,
Um, you know,
but you still do it.
they
You're not
still do it anyway.
still do it. Like, I find it the craziest things. Like, you guys wear them for 12 hours at a time, and you're wearing heavy duty stuff, and people for like 10 minutes are like, I can't do this. I can't hug
Yeah.
people. I can't do all that stuff, and it's just like,
Yeah, I can't go get my hair done.
yeah, like,
There was the one guy that was like,
relax.
I can't go buy lawn fertilizer. Of all the things, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
like,
you know, we nurses I think feel a little forgotten about anyways.
yeah,
Um, no one thought of us before the pandemic. They called us heroes for a little bit, and I'm not a big fan of that, but and they're
yeah,
gonna forget about us once this is all over. That's just
yeah.
kind of the sentiment.
I know there's been a push as well. I know there's been a push as well. It was like talking about people calling nurses and first responders, doctors, heroes. And it's like, yeah, hero is a good way to say, hey, oh my God, you're so special and great, but we're not going to actually change anything about maybe paying you more or making sure you're taken care of better. It's just if you die, then we can just feel good about calling you a hero. And it's like, why don't we just take
Yeah,
care of the people that are out there putting their lives on the line? You know, it's like,
yeah, and I don't. I mean, it'd be nice to get paid more because sometimes it's like, man, it's you know, there's something called nursing burnout,
yeah,
and not just it's not just like if I say dude, what's that called? It's not like a it's a real term,
yeah,
and
an
it's
actual,
like emotional, physical exhaustion.
yeah,
And I've been feel and I haven't been a nurse for too long, but I feel total burnout, and it's a combination of you feel depressed, you feel a disconnect from your patients, and so it's you know, where's the help there? You know,
yeah,
don't call me a hero, give me support. You know,
yeah,
and I feel my hospital has done a decent job of giving support with PPE. We reuse N95s, but I've always felt that I was protected. But I know other hospitals, especially New York, where they've gotten
yeah.
hit crazily hard. Uh, they've had PPE issues, but
Yeah, they're garbage bags. Some of them I've seen. Some of my
yeah,
like
yeah,
healthcare friends, they're like, I don't got a suit. We're just gonna put garbage cans on and duct tape around like edges, and it's like, oof.
that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. We don't get the support like the police get with all their football uniforms or you know their big riot gear. We get garbage bags and you know
Uh,
we reuse our
yeah,
N95 mask. You know, I have to write I have to write my name on mine, and then I put it in a box at the end of the day. It gets cleaned out and I reuse it again. Where it's before the
Yeah.
pandemic, it was like I wear my N95, I go in the room, I take it off, and I throw it away.
Yeah.
So, um,
Crazy. At the time
yeah,
when you need to have more, that you have
yeah.
to do that is crazy.
And to get back on topic, I don't know what I would want as more support. Obviously, more pay would be nice. Um, because we've talked about how bad COVID is. We are on the front line willingly.
Yeah.
Most people are unwillingly on the front line. We're willingly on the front line.
Yeah.
Um, there was a bill that was like forgive the student loan debt of healthcare workers, and I was like, yes, go. Um, but that's probably not going to happen. Um,
Not with Betsy DeVos around.
yeah, yeah. It would be tough to get something like that passed, anyways. Um,
Yeah.
let alone with someone who's probably resistant to it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would need out of support. I mostly get support from those closest to me. Um, if I'm feeling down or something, Caitlin can help me out. She boosts my spirits a little bit.
Yeah.
Or just my coworkers a lot because we all joke around all the time, and that's it's kind of morbid jokes, but that
Yeah.
keeps
You
our
got your, like,
spirits.
family, your work family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to all of them. They've helped out a ton. So you know,
Well, so
it's rough.
let's.
This too shall pass.
It's true. Hope, hopefully sooner rather than later, but realistically, that's not going to be too soon.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then the history of the world, it'll be a blink of an eye, but reality for us, it's like, nah, we got to live with this for another year. So
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. It'll ebb and flow.
So what are you doing like with kind of, excuse me, the burps from the mimosa stuff? Pivoting a little bit, we got 7 minutes left, and before Instagram Live forces us to kick us off. But so I wanted to talk about as well something that you and I always do. We generally talk mostly over Xbox Live anyway, because we're always on games, which has been up forever. Um, so like for me, obviously being unemployed and we're all like sitting around at home and gaming and doing stuff is huge. Like I feel like the gaming industry is blown up during this time. You and I talked about Twitch, talked
Yeah.
about streaming, talking about obviously all the cameras, all the equipment's all gone because everyone's trying to stream right now. Like, how do you feel gaming for you has like either helped or hindered or given you like a reprieve from being at work, and or like what are you playing right now? Like what's in your lineup?
Well, so gaming's always been one of my favorite things of all time. Um, it's just an escape. It lets you kind of turn everything off.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to think, but most of the time you just turn it off and you can disappear for a little bit. I just built a computer um, back February, March, me and one of my coworkers. So I've switched from console to PC, and PC is probably the best. It's probably the best. It's better than
PC
console.
Master Race.
It's the best graphics, the best. You don't have to pay for online with PC, whereas Xbox you got to pay for that subscription. PS4, all the PlayStation, same thing.
Yeah,
Uh, so I'm full computer now. I watch Twitch and stuff on the Xbox while I play
yeah.
game computer.
Oh, that's what I
Uh,
would see you on. I send you like a party request. I was like, oh, he's on Twitch.
yeah, if I'm on Twitch, I'm either asleep or I'm not paying attention to it. Twitch is a very good white noise. If you
Yeah.
just want something in the background, Twitch is very good for that. Um, but yeah, game wise, I've been playing. Let me look here. Um, I've been playing Minecraft. I've been playing Valorant, CS:GO, Terraria. I've been running through Terraria. There's a game I've been playing. I just got done with Warcraft 3. I bought the Reforged version. I know, don't. It was such a bad remake, but I bought it anyways. I've been playing Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, which is a pretty cool game.
These are
Uh,
all PC stuff for you, right? Or any of these like cross-platform or can play on Xbox or anything?
there's Minecraft's on Xbox, Terraria's on Xbox. But other than that, these are all PC games. Uh, I've been playing Overwatch here and there on Xbox.
Yeah.
Not as much as I used to, but I still, it's something you can jump in real quick and then jump out. You don't have to invest a lot of time,
Yeah.
which is nice. And those games are cool because then if I only have 15 minutes, I can go in and then come back out.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're not worried about like leaving anybody or doing anything crazy.
no, no, honestly, PC is such a. I'm not. I'm gonna start streaming soon, just because I've always wanted to, but I need to buy a couple more parts for my computer. I've
Yeah.
already spent. I spent way too much. Spent like 5 grand on my computer.
I mean, if all you're doing is working 12-hour shifts all the time in a COVID ward, it's like might as well have something nice to come home to and play on, you know?
Yeah, and I once this COVID thing starts, well, once the economy opens up a little bit more, people won't be streaming as much.
Yeah.
I can jump in and start doing my thing. Um, so I don't know. There's a few games coming out this year. Cyberpunk
Yep.
uh, is probably the big one. It's got Keanu Reeves in it, which
I
who doesn't
love
that
Gettys.
guy? Uh, so that's kind of the big game I'm looking forward to this year. Other than that, just the basics: Minecraft, Valorant, Terraria, CS:GO.
Yeah.
Um,
CS:GO is the Counter-Strike, the new one, right? Okay.
well,
Yeah.
it's not new, but it's yeah, it's Counter Strike, and Valorant's really just a slightly different remake of Counter Strike. So they're
Okay.
kind of the same. Just Valorant has a little bit of Overwatch powers to it.
I think I've seen some of like the clips on different like streamers pages and stuff like that. It kind of looks like Overwatch, but like with like not as like blizzardy, you know?
Yeah,
Like
but it's a CS:GO Overwatch. That's pretty much what it is.
okay, okay, cool. Well, well, I'm gonna do a little last rundown before we get booted off here because I always like to ask. These are my favorite my little questions I always do at the end. All right, let me pull this up. All right, so we're gonna do a quick 2-minute fire fast round. All right.
Uh-oh,
Great. Yeah. All
let's
right.
do it.
So you're gonna answer your favorites of all these things. All right. So we're gonna say, I want to see what's your favorite movie.
Favorite movie?
Yep. Favorite movie.
It's a trilogy. Lord of the Rings.
Really
You
good.
took me that when I was resistive to it. I remember back in the Fellowship, and
Uh huh.
it's
So
the
good.
greatest, the best movies of all time. All three Lord of the Rings. I'm going to include so the two trilogies. I loved all six of them,
All of them.
all of them. So
Do
Lord
you
of the
watch it? Have you seen all the extended versions?
Rings. Not all of them, but I've seen enough. I've seen just extended version footage, but I
Yeah.
haven't watched 5 hours of Return of the King.
It's crazy. We did
I
Maddie and I did it. We did it in 2 sections the other day. It's
yeah,
awesome. I'm telling you, it's
yeah,
worth it. But it's like you have to do just two movies. All right. I
yeah.
just got the
You
final
get
2-minute countdown timer
because you get
on
to see like
Instagram
the mouth
Live.
of Sauron. You don't get to see that in the regular version.
Yeah, like there's some cool stuff. Like even with like the Army of the Dead that you don't normally get to see. Like there's some cool stuff that happens. All right, so second, your favorite artist, so like musical artist.
Oh, geez. I guess of all time, I've always loved Dave Matthews. He's always been my favorite. He's one I go back to a lot. Fall Out Boy. Well, let's just
Yeah,
no, let's just do Dave Matthews. That's probably my favorite.
yeah, I
I
love
I
me some
back
Dave.
constantly.
All right, favorite food. I want to know your favorite like style of food, and then your actual favorite like food. Like what is your like particular like specific thing?
Well, I eat like garbage, so fast food has always been my favorite. I spend too much money on that. My favorite meal, which would be from fast food, and this is, gosh, this is gonna sound terrible. I get the number four from Del Taco, which is the double cheeseburger. I
Yeah.
get it plano, and then instead of fries, I get chili cheddar fries, and then I
Okay.
put the chili cheese fries on the burger, and then I have a chili cheese fry burger, and that's probably my favorite meal. It's so
I think
good.
it's
It's
good.
so good.
I'm down for that. What's your favorite? If you could go anywhere in the world after COVID 19, we have 30 seconds left. Where would you go? It was all
Oh, and
free before.
I want to go to Zhangjiajie Forest, which is in China. It's what they used for inspiration for that movie with James Cameron, Avatar.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, with like the cloud
The,
cities and stuff like that. Like the
yeah,
really cool mountains.
for that. It looks like these giant rock towers. It looks beautiful.